Good evening, everyone. Welcome to JANM's very first Virtual Gala. Thank you for joining us at our much anticipated annual event and for taking the leap with us into the virtual world. This is perhaps one of the most difficult times we've faced in our lifetimes. And certainly I extend to all of you and your families our heartfelt concerns for your health and safety. More than ever, we need to gather together to support one another and to lift each other's spirits when there's so much in this world right now that fuels our fears and anxieties. We hope that tonight will bring you a program that distills JANM down to its essence and demonstrates how powerfully, even during these challenging times, when people across the country are being tested to the limits, that JANM remains as a constant reminder of the life-affirming power of community and shared history, and a hope for the future. 3 years ago at our gala, we honored Irene Hirano Inouye, the founding president and CEO of the Japanese American National Museum, with the museum's Lifetime Achievement Award. Earlier last week, we were deeply saddened to learn of Irene's passing. Far too soon for a woman of her extraordinary leadership and vision and her uncommon sense of compassion for others. Throughout her life, she was a constant inspiration for our staff and our volunteers, for the entire JANM family. So we thought it appropriate to begin our program with a look back on Irene's lasting impact on the first 20 years of JANM, and indeed how her life made a difference, not only for the Japanese American community, but for all who share the ideals of equality, democracy, and justice.
She is really extraordinary.
A one-of-a-kind type of person.
Tireless, and she is fearless.
Instilled with an ethic of perseverance.
My father was a businessman and an entrepreneur, just never gave up.
Irene Yasutake displayed a strong sense of social responsibility that began as early as junior high.
Why don't we do a fundraiser and raise money to get a wheelchair for the children's orphanage?
And continued through college.
I actually worked at a center on campus called the Center for Social Action. It was during the Vietnam War and Civil Rights era. So a lot of those early pieces formed a lot of what my interest was.
After graduating with a master's in public administration, she went on to head one of the few women's clinics serving the African American community in South LA.
Specific advocates around health, around empowerment, political empowerment formed as a result of that.
Irene was in that milieu with us, trying to bring a multicultural sensibility to civil rights in the city.
There were people wanting to start a museum, and given my experience in the nonprofit sector, would I consider coming and being the executive director? And I said no, I'm very happy doing the work that I have been involved in. And the more they talked about it, I thought, well, maybe this is a good time to think about a new challenge.
Irene saw the new museum as an opportunity to honor her own family history. Her grandfather had lost everything when his family was interned at Rower, Arkansas. Her father served in the MIS.
She looked awfully young, but when she started to talk, she was informed, she was articulate, in command, and very persuasive.
Who really put the national in the Japanese American National Museum.
She was really the captain in the sense of, if we were a ship, she was always looking out into the distance of where we should go.
Initially, I would have thought, oh, this lady's crazy, but I've always been astonished at how she's been able to realize all of these ideas that she had.
She was probably the one who thought, okay, we're going to open the museum and it's going to go into the former Buddhist temple. But at some point, we're going to build another building.
She worked day and night. And when we used to have volunteer parties, she would be right in there cleaning up the floors, moving desk. I mean, she wouldn't leave until everything was done.
In 2008, after leading the museum for 20 years, elevating it into a world-class institution, Irene decided to begin a new chapter with Senator Daniel Inouye.
So I tell people that when we got married, you then have an extended family. When we got married, I married a whole state. So it was, I was kind of amazing.
Irene being Irene, she embarked on a new challenge, helping create the U.S.-Japan Council to forge strong international people-to-people relationships.
One of the signature programs that got created was the Japanese American Leadership Delegation to identify 10 to 15 people per year to go on an extraordinary trip of diplomacy, business, and cultural and social relationships.
The mayor said to me, listen, Mr. Ambassador, there's one thing that you can do. You can provide hope. That's where Irene is incredible. It was the smartest decision we ever made to ask her to consider being our co-founder of the Tomodachi Initiative.
Last I remember, it raised well over $50 million from both the corporate community in the United States and in Japan.
She never leads by fiat or by sharp judgment or with sharp elbows. She is there to provide ideas, provide perspective.
I wouldn't be president of the Ford Foundation without Irene's support, and I wouldn't be the leader that I am without her counsel, her wisdom.
The vision of having a museum like this had not come to be, then you wonder, there would be a huge void. And I think that the people that invested in the institution should be proud that we have a place that helps to allow other people to tell their stories, to do the kind of programming that brings those stories to life and brings the relevance of why it's meaningful now.
She could even play the accordion. Who knew? Hi, everyone. I'm Frank Buckley. Thanks for joining us for the Virtual Gala this year. I'm missing my MC duties with you, but I'm glad we could all come together to honor Irene and to raise money for the Japanese American National Museum. While Irene could do everything, even play the accordion, I think most people would agree that her leadership at the Japanese American National Museum was chief among her many accomplishments. It was Irene and her smarts and hard work and her gentle but insistent leadership that grew the museum into the anchor institution it is today in Little Tokyo and downtown LA. Her leadership made it the global destination it is today for the telling of the story of Americans of Japanese ancestry. It's the story, as you know, of hard work and perseverance, the story of discrimination and triumph, the story of patriotism and heroism. We need to make sure those stories and many more are shared for generations to come. We need to keep this important institution alive for generations to come. If you're seeing this, you no doubt already feel that way and you already support the museum. Thank you for that. Bid early and bid often on the auction this year, and please support the bid for education as well. And thanks again for supporting the Japanese American National Museum.
On behalf of the Gala Dinner Committee, Susan and I would like to thank you all for joining us here this evening. We especially want to thank our signature sponsors, Aratani Foundation, MUFG Union Bank North America, Tedesaki Family Foundation, and Toyota Motor North America. Your support is critical to continuing JANM's mission, and we're so grateful for your belief in the value of our institution. We'd also like to thank the staff, volunteers, and the Gala Dinner Committee, who's planning a work go on throughout the entire year to put this on.
And finally, we're very excited about our online auction. We're very grateful to the wonders of technology and the JANM staff for making it possible. We have a wonderful selection of items. Bidding ends at 7 p.m. Pacific, so we hope everyone will have an opportunity to participate. It's a win-win situation. You get a wonderful item, something to enrich your life, and the museum gets the benefit of your contribution, most importantly. So in order to participate in the online auction, please go to the website below. Thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of the program.
A special thank you to Kari and Susan for your leadership and your willingness to lead us into this virtual reality. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of you who've tuned in, our members and our supporters. I'm also so grateful to the dedication and service of our trustees and governors, our staff and our volunteers. And I have to tell you how deeply touched all of us have been by the coming together of the community in this time of hardship. Thank you for lifting us up with your generosity and unwavering commitment to JANM. Now, I invite you to take a look at the many highlights of JANM's programs and exhibitions during the past year.
Completely new artifact that I've never seen before. It's outstanding.
Girlfriend's mother, Mrs. Fujikawa, she's over here.
This idea of how do we make this collection more accessible was very important for our work. Who has the right to tell people's stories? How do we empower communities to tell their own stories? I think that's really important.
So we came back to let you know that we will not forget you. We came back to drum our message loud and clear.
I mean, I'm the only Mexican out there, so maybe that's how they... All right, the only Mexican playing taiko! Give it up for Easterland Taiko!
December 1941.
We are on the side of justice, humanity, and fair play.
Is it on? But it's backwards. But it's backwards. I'm just kidding. I know how these things work.
Hey, how's everyone doing? You guys good? Hope everyone's staying safe. I know this is weird. This is the first ever virtual gala. Hopefully the last. Yeah, I know it's weird, but don't worry. I'm not wearing pants either. Okay. My name is Derek Mio. You might recognize me from the television show, the AMC's The Terror, and if you haven't seen it, it's actually streaming right now on Hulu, so I know you're running out of things to watch, so please check it out if you can. In all seriousness, it's a really big honor for me to be here in support of the Japanese American National Museum, which has been in my life as far back as I can remember, and has been a great source of pride in allowing us to cherish and honor the sacrifices that our ancestors made and also celebrated, what they endured and accomplished to allow us, to pursue our dreams. So very, very honored to be here with you tonight. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I mean, what else would you be doing? Okay. So I was asked to recite a passage from the Stanley Hayami diary, which I was not familiar with before this. And for those of you that don't know about it, Stanley Hayami was from Los Angeles, and he was incarcerated at Heart Mountain in Wyoming, and he also served in the 442, and that's where he was killed in Italy in 1945. But the Hayami diary is one of the most cherished artifacts of the museum because it gives us really first-hand account from the events unfolding from Pearl Harbor and, Stanley being incarcerated and the uncertainty and the fear and what's going on, what's going to happen to him. But it's also great because he has a lot of hope and optimism. And it's crazy. I was asked to choose from a few passages, and the one that I chose to read immediately, it just completely resonated with me and was relevant with what's going on right now, with what we're all dealing with. It's crazy how much things stay the same because you can interchange, kind of what he's going through and what we're all going through right now. The fear of the unknown, the, discrimination, but he has this really great sense of hope and positivity. So that's why I wanted to recite this one. So this is Stanley Hayami's diary entry for January 1st, 1943. Well, today is the first day of the year, 1943. I wonder what it has in store for me. Wonder what it has in store for everybody. Wonder where I'll be next year. Wonder when the war will end. Last year today, I said I hoped that the war would end in a year. Well, it didn't. But this year, I say again, I hope the war ends this year, but definitely. Another thing is, I hope I'm out of here and a free man by 44. Here's a few New Year's resolutions I hope I can live up to. Number 1, I resolve to be more tolerant, not only with family members, but with everyone. Number 2, I resolve to be more understanding of others and more appreciative. This goes in hand with number 1. Great men are great because they understand people better. They are great because they are not narrow-minded. One of the things a person wants most is appreciation. So I want to give everyone as much appreciation as possible. Number 3, I resolve to study as hard as I can and learn as much as I can so that when I'm a man, I won't be a dumbbell. I should have done that. Prediction. War will end between 1944 and 1945, about 1.5 years more. Number 4, I resolve to help Ma and Pa more. Me too. Number 5, I resolve not to abandon any high ambitions. Today in the morning, I played cards, and in the afternoon, I listened to football games. We are so spoiled. Well, the Rose Bowl game came out as I expected, but not as I had hoped. Most people said that Georgia would smother UCLA, but I said it could be pretty close. UCLA held Georgia scoreless for 3 quarters, but Georgia poured it on in the last and won 9-0. I hoped UCLA would win, which they didn't, however. Last year at this time, I was at home in San Gabriel, California. And today, I'm far away in an evacuation camp here in Heart Mountain, Wyoming. Gosh, a lot happened last year. In the spring, we had to work hard to sell out our stock. At Easter, we quit, handed over the nursery to Mr. Daly. We moved to Los Angeles for a month until evacuation to Pomona A Center. After Pomona, we boarded a train, and after about 3.5 days of traveling through Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, we reached this camp in Wyoming. And here I am today, hoping that next year at this time, I'll be home or someplace else outside of camp. Thank you so much for having me to the Japanese American National Museum, and thank you for all that you do. I wish everyone safety, good health, toilet paper, and hope. Take care, everyone.
Over a year has elapsed since I last wrote. Some have grown bitter. Some are just bored. Some are indifferent and don't care. Some are trying to hold on to faith. Some are lost as to what is democracy. Some never knew. Some are taking it in a spirit of a vacation. Some are hoping that anything might happen, good or bad, but as long as it is a change. Some are worried as to whether they'll be able to go back to their home state or not. Others say now they wouldn't want to return. Still, others feel a home is where you make it, so they make the best of any situation. Some want to relocate but are fearful of outside hostility. Many have gone out, only a few have returned. The majority have gone back into American life without too much difficulty in readjusting themselves. A few have tried and are trying to make this community a more livable place, a more meaningful home, where we may someday profit not so much by our experiences, but by the attitudes we developed in meeting our respective problems. Yes, people have changed. People have matured. People have slacked. People have grown careless. People have grown more thoughtful. A drama in the acting, a history in the making, and each is playing an unconscious role of hero or villain, fool or coward, or bit roles in the background. The outside world, our own audience? No, strangely, we also are the audience. We need love, we need understanding, we need broad-mindedness, we need tolerance, and yet a strong grasp on righteousness. We need courage to forget past grievances, but grateful hearts to remember past kindnesses. We need perseverance to live what may seem a drab life, but fortitude to forge on to a better life. We need youth to vision and create and build, but maturity to meet the setbacks and disillusions that also come with the results of visions.
Don't forget to support the bid for education by texting JANM 2020 to 76278 or going to janm2020.givesmart.com. Every year, we're so humbled by the support we receive from our corporate and foundation partners. Without your support, much of what we do would just not be possible. So we've invited our signature and diamond sponsors to share some brief messages with us.
Hello, everyone. This is Kaz Koshi, Executive Chairman of MUFG Union Bank. Even though we're physically distanced, it's good to be together virtually like this. Difficult times remind us how important community is. One of many reasons MUFG Union Bank is honored to sponsor this program once again. So more than ever this year, and in memory of our dear friend and benefactor Irene Inouye, let's celebrate what binds us together: culture, community, and commitment. Thank you for all you do to make that a reality.
My family has been supporters of the Japanese American National Museum since its inauguration. My father, Paul Terasaki, along with individuals such as the late Irene Hirano, worked together from the early beginnings. We are very saddened by the loss of Irene. I'm sure she and my father would greatly endorse the financial and moral support we can give for the Japanese American National Museum. I have been given the incredible honor to get to know the staff at JANM this past year. I do not have enough words to express my admiration for the integrity and excellence of the staff. Their passion, perseverance, incredible knowledge, and years of devotion makes up this institution that must continue. We are going through challenging times. We must make a commitment to continue the mission, messaging, and education of this fine institution. The Japanese American experience, with all its reverberations of incredible influence and culture, must be kept alive. Please join the Terasaki Family Foundation and make a commitment to ensure the future of the Japanese American National Museum.
Linda and Sakaya Aratani have asked me to read a message from them. Hello, everyone. This is Linda Aratani, along with my mother, Sakaya Aratani. It's been an honor and a privilege to support JANM over the past 30 years. My father, George, felt that a museum of our own was very important here in Los Angeles, specifically in Little Tokyo. And since its beginnings, JANM has worked tirelessly to speak on behalf of our culture and to share all that is unique about us through its many programs and exhibits, reflecting both the traditional and the contemporary. We're grateful to JANM and to all its dedicated staff and volunteers. At this time, my mother and I would like to express our deepest sorrow at the passing of Irene Hirano Inouye. As JANM's first CEO, Irene's leadership and guidance were pivotal in establishing JANM's importance and direction in our community and our nation. We wish to express our heartfelt condolences to Irene's family. The Yuki family has asked me to read their message to you this evening. The Yuki family is pleased to be a diamond sponsor of this year's first Virtual Gala. During these difficult times, we face many challenges as a community and as a museum, and we're inspired by the efforts of the museum family to carry on JANM's mission in these new, innovative ways. We're proud that this evening we're able to continue the vital work begun 30 years ago by the late Irene Hirano Inouye, our first president and chief executive officer, whose vision and extraordinary leadership built a foundation that will endure long beyond this crisis we now face. Thank you, Irene. Your legacy will live on.
This is George Sugimoto. It has been a pleasure to be associated with the Japanese American National Museum, not only as a sponsor, but also knowing all the benefits that JANM conveys, the display that they present regarding the life in the camps, and then life in general of the Japanese is greatly appreciated. I know they will continue to convey the message, and I certainly want to wish them the best, and I will maintain my association with JANM. Thank you.
In these times of great uncertainty, JANM must continue to serve as America's conscience to ensure that the Japanese-American experience is not forgotten and never repeated. Someone who could speak eloquently to the importance of JANM's work and the unique role of an ethnic-specific museum today is our featured speaker. Lonnie Bunch III is the 14th Secretary of the Smithsonian. Previously, Lonnie was the director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. It's now my privilege to welcome Lonnie Bunch.
Good evening. I am so sorry that I cannot be with you tonight, but not being there doesn't dampen my enthusiasm for the Japanese American National Museum. Honestly, I have been so excited about being involved with the Japanese American National Museum since the 1980s. I remember people like Dean Toji and Nancy Araki talking to me about what this museum could be. And I remember the joy I felt when I first walked into the Buddhist temple and began to see and imagine how the story of the Japanese American community was going to be unfolded in that space. And I have to tell you, I am so proud of what the Japanese American National Museum has accomplished throughout its tenure, partly because it shaped me in profound ways. I realized that the story of the Japanese American community or the story of the African American community is not the story just for a community. It's a story that helps us all understand as Americans who we are. It completes our identity, and I learned that at JANM. In some ways, what I'm proudest of is that during a time of crisis, museums like the Japanese American National Museum, like the National Museum of African American History and Culture, are there. They're there because museums are even more important now than ever before. Museums are the glue that holds not just a community together, but holds a country together. The museums, like JANM, remind us of our shared humanity. But they also remind us that in times of pain, it's important to find beauty. It's important to find resiliency. Museums help us recognize that we have the resiliency, the creativity, the strength to survive. I'm honored to be part of this celebration, and I look forward to being with you in person in the future. Keep up the good work, stay safe, and remember what you do matters to this country. Thank you.
The chair of our board, Norman Netta, has written some remarks to introduce our bid for education, and he's asked me to read them to you. He writes, "My greetings to all of you. I wish that we could all be together in person, and I look forward to gathering under one roof again next year. To my mind, nothing encapsulates JANM's work more powerfully than our award-winning educational programs. Staff, docents, and volunteers interact with students and educators, both online and in person, and connect the Japanese American story to what is going on with the students' lives today. Through these significant interactions, JANM teaches thousands of students every year about the importance of tolerance and compassion and the consequences of prejudice and hate. Your support for this program is your way to change the future and to make a positive and powerful impact on our youth today. The bid has grown from Senator Daniel Inouye's original vision to support educational programming, which is now more important than ever, particularly as students across the country are sequestered at home and learning online. Despite the school closures, our education team continues to be hard at work. Your support allows us to keep going without interruption. And to tell you more about our ongoing initiatives, I'm exceptionally proud to introduce JANM's Director of Education, Lynn Yamazaki.
Hello, I'm Ling Yamasaki, the Director of Education. While things are certainly different at the moment, we know that schools will eventually reopen and students will once again fill the JANM galleries. This is why we need your continued support. Our volunteers and our rich collections will be back to sharing stories and inspiring our visitors. Until then, the Education Unit is committed to sharing curriculum and developing activities to support students, teachers, and parents as they continue to learn from home. As an example, we're currently developing an art activity inspired by the resourcefulness and the beautiful crafts to emerge from the camp experience. We'll encourage people to find beauty in their surroundings and to create something wonderful. So even though we can't be together, it doesn't mean that we can't connect. And we wouldn't be able to share our message with the wider public without your help. So thank you so much.
The object was used between 1942 and 1945. It was used in the Amici internment camp. This object tells us about the life that people had, but that they didn't have a suitcase. So this man, Frank Nakatani, made his bag to carry all of the stuff they needed. Thank you.
Our school is located in East Los Angeles. We're a Title I school. Because our school doesn't have that many funds, our field trip opportunities are limited only to like museums and places where we don't have to pay. This was a good opportunity because the museum gave us a bus grant. Today, my group so far did a hands-on activity where they got to look at some artifacts and touch the artifacts.
When we were touching the stuff, and being a detective, we would put these gloves on.
I think holding artifacts makes it more real for students. They understand these experiences and these people actually existed versus when they just see it in a social studies book, when they just see the photographs of the artifacts.
I like pictures because when we get out of school, we don't have to do work.
Same. I also like field trips because we get to go to different places and learn a lot of new stuff when we go to museums.
And you get to go to places you never seen before.
I guess my hope is that they have an understanding of what a fear of differences can lead to, that they would have more respect, kind of conscious of being respectful of people who are different from them, and to understand that even though they might seem different, their experiences are actually similar to their own experiences.
Out of all the field trips we went to, this was my favorite one. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to come here.
Thank you for the funness and happiness. Thank you for letting us learn more. Say something. Say something. Bye.
Good evening to all who have joined us virtually, and I know there are many, many more who have joined us in spirit. We gather together despite a global pandemic. We gather together because of our firm commitment to the ideals of our democracy, and we know that under great duress, those cherished values can be tested by human fallibility. And so we gather in pride because we built the Japanese American National Museum as a conscience of America, to remind us of the past, to shine a light on our present, and to enlighten our way to building the future of America. Please join me in a toast to our museum. May the Japanese American National Museum live long and prosper. To JANM.
Each year, we take a moment to reflect on those who've passed in the year since our last gala. These are individuals who've contributed to the establishment and ongoing successes of the Japanese American National Museum. Let's take a moment to remember them with gratitude.
Toyota's family stretches to every corner of this country. So you can trust us to be here for you as we remain committed to supporting our community. Because the Toyota family is stronger together. This is our pledge. We are here for you now and in all the better days ahead. Toyota.
At last, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. The drawing for the 2020 Lexus RX 450 Hybrid. Please welcome a leader of the museum who served on the Board of Governors for many years. Toyota Motor North America's Chief Financial Officer, Tracy Doi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tracy Doi with Toyota. I hope that you are healthy and safe. During this challenging time, Toyota is trying to do what we can by donating supplies to frontline medical providers and also helping to produce protective face shields and offering our expertise for medical device and equipment providers, whether that be engineering, manufacturing, or supply chain, and also streamlining the drive-through COVID-19 testing. We're here for you during this difficult time. And we're also here for JANM. Thank you for joining us tonight to help support JANM's important work. Their curators and experts are providing special exhibits in the art, culture, Japanese American history, and education. All of us would like to support the vision of our dear Irene Hirano Inouye and continue her legacy and all the important work that she's done for our community and the world. Thank you for supporting JANM through the Lexus Opportunity Drawing. I certainly hope out of the hundreds and hundreds of tickets that yours is the lucky one that's drawn. So let's see who wins the Lexus RX Hybrid. Congratulations to the winner of our Lexus RX Hybrid. This is my most favorite car, and I can't wait to meet the winner and hand them the winning keys. Certainly hope that someone captured that surprise on video or on photo. Look forward to all of us being together soon, and thanks again for your support of JANM. I hope you'll continue to participate through the Bid for Education, the silent auction, or your own general donation. We really appreciate your generosity. Thank you.
As we wrap up our virtual gala, I would like to thank our speakers, our sponsors, and of course all of you for being here and for recognizing the importance of JANM to our community nationally and internationally. I would also like to thank our staff who've worked from home under extraordinarily difficult conditions. They continue to innovate day in and day out, and they inspire me every day. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll all get through this together. And don't forget that there are many ways that you can get more JANM content. Visit our YouTube channel, Instagram, and of course, janm.org. Please continue to engage with our stories from wherever you are. From all of us at JANM, thank you for joining us for our first virtual gala. And a very good night to you all.
And now, please put your hands together for the JANM Jammin' at Home Ukulele Band.
When I was young, I never needed anyone. And making love was just for fun. Those days are gone. Living alone, I think of all the friends I know. But when I die,